Hey guys, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. So I want to jump on here real quick and share one of the out-of-body experiences that I had. This is in relation to a life review that I actually did after coming back from my death experience, having that life review, and then coming back into the physical form to remember my path. Because between my death experience, kind of still getting caught up into life as it was evolving, because from my awakening, it was this transition still from the physical form Laura identity to where I am now. And so the out of body experience with the life review helped me to remind myself my point and my goal in moving forward, right? So it had kept me back on track. Um, so I want to talk about the out of body experience life review that I had after the death experience. So it was really interesting in that concept because of course my Laura person was so strong still, and it was kind of dominating. The programs I was running under the ego, that aspect of myself, and which needed to be reminded, where I am and on the path, right? So again, it was just as things were unfolding, I was awakening, things were coming through, because sometimes, like when you're on the path and you have awakening, you're awake, and then but then there's times where if um, you have the awakening, the initial awakening, you have little awakenings after that and unfolding. So I was kind of the one on this huge awakening path, from one to the other, but it was like over a span of time. And so it just kept unfolding, as I was going. But it was a great reminder of me for the, for the life review and the past lives and things like that, I was going through, um, and the awakening. So sorry, excuse me. I have I guess I'm getting a little with it being cold weather. Um, but for the life review in the out of body, because I got to a place where my meditation was really strong, and I was meditating every day, and I pushed through the barriers of the 10-15 minute line, and I ended up going into full on hour meditations, right? And then coming back and just having that realization that it was like 10 or 15 minutes, but really I was gone for like an hour or more, right? And so at this point, pushing through that limitation of being in the concept of Laura in the mind, moving past that. That's why I say it's every day, practice, practice, practice. You know, do it, do it, do it. Don't let anything stop you. Even let the mind stop you. Don't allow the mind to stop you. Push through it. Do it every day, a little, 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 and then expand the time. So, because when you get to that certain point, you can push through the boundaries of limitations of the human form, and then you're able to get out, and have the expansion awareness of what's beyond that frame of the human concept. Which brings me back to form. And so when you're in the space of form, you only have that reality. But if you're in meditation practice, you can push past those limitations. So that's part of the journey of your life review, transforming the karmic overlay that I've been talking about and working on. And so with the out of body experience, doing the life review, um, that was part of it, signifying the path that I was on, working on those elements, within myself, pushing past those limitations, those frameworks, of the mind. And so doing the shadow work and things like that came along the path after. But it brought to my awareness, my consciousness, that um, once you're outside of the mind through the meditation practice daily, every day, I was able to get to the point where I was pushing through those limits. And once I was out, I was able to have all these different experiences of out of body journeys and things like that. And so the one of them was the life review. And so it was really interesting, what was happening, because I was literally, um, going into the mindset where once I quiet the mind, I was able to leave, right? And so I went into this place where I had gone to a field, right? And so in this field, like things just started to appear. And as they were appearing, I was just walking through the field, and then all of a sudden, it was like the sun and these fields, these tall flowers just in the field. It was such a beautiful place. And then I had this white horse show up, right? And so, what is the white horse? You know, I have a lot of things, representing horses for me. When I was little, there was this white horse that was in my life, at certain times. Um, and then now I have a white Bronco. And then, but the horse represents, moving forward, um, freeness, whites, expression of source, purity, and things like that. So everything has symbolism, right? But with the white horse showing up, I started walking towards the white horse in my out of body, right? And so from the out of body, what was happening, I was able to see what that. I heard something hit my car. Hit my car. I was like, "What is that?" But with the out of body, I guess it's the wind um, knocking things down. But um, with the white horse showing up, I went towards the white horse, right? And then I was like, just admiring the beauty of the white horse. It was like so like beautiful. The horse was so beautiful, and the horse was kind of standing like long ways, in front of me, not like looking at me, but kind of like long ways, like it was in a different direction. And then from around the horse came this person. And I was like, who is this person? I don't know this person, right? But it was funny because this person, he was Native American, right? And I have this Native American spirit guide that I work with, and I've been working with them for a long time. And it's funny because of everything, all the symbology and everything that comes together, with the white Bronco, the horse, the Native American. And I've had quite a few journeys with the Native American, and doing different things, which I'll be sharing those with you. But for this one, like the Native American came out, from behind the horse. It was so just majestic and so like, I don't know, like enticing, right? So, and of course, from the lore perspective, he was very attractive, and and don't laugh, but I was looking, my lore self was looking at him like that, like, okay, is this kind of like some kind of dream or what is going on here, But I had forgotten that I wasn't sleeping. It was like I was in meditation. I was in out of body, so I was in a different reality, different realm, wherever that was, and whatever was appearing. And but I was still conscious, in that. So I had walked up to him, and of course he had this long, beautiful hair and no shirt on, and he was decked out in the jewelry, as they do in the feather, with the white horse. I mean, who cannot resist that, right? But that's the human Laura form that was in that perception, right? And it was so funny because he goes like this. Like he knew what I was thinking. He knew what I was thinking. But it wasn't that. And what it was he had come to take me for a ride on the horse. And that was the out of body, um, the life review, because he got up on the horse, right? There was no talking. There was no talking. It was all telepathy, right? And feeling like he knew exactly what I was thinking, what I was like questioning, like what am I doing here? Who is this? And who are you? And what am I here for? And what are we doing? And you know, and he had got up on the horse and he put his hand down and I took his hand. I'm like, okay, so we're going for a ride, okay, we're going for a ride. I didn't know where we were going. So I took his hand, he pulled me up on the horse, and I'm on the horse. And he put me in front. He didn't put me in back, right? It's like, I don't know. Are we not? You want me to go somewhere? You want me to fall off or what? I don't know. But he put me in the front. I was in the front. He was behind me, and he was driving the horse. And it was so interesting because as we were riding, I was seeing all these um, pictures going by, right, in the mind. And at certain times, he would speed up, and at certain times, he would slow down. And so it was like this rhythmic um, process that was going on as we were doing the life review. So I was watching all the screenshots of all my lives, and it was so fast that like the human mind can't perceive of it. And so whatever he was doing, he was allowing me, and it was the rhythmic of it that was allowing me to see what was going on. And here I'm thinking we're going to go on a journey up in the mountains, you know, and have this escapade or whatever you want to call it. But no, it was, it was totally different. So it was a life review that he was doing with me. And so it was like a motion picture, if you will. And you get to see the different lives that you've had up to this point, and you know the different things that you've done or experienced, and why you're here, and what makes sense and what makes sense. And it was just a lot of previewing, like you would do in a life review, basically. And I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, but we review our lives and what we've done, and it's part of the karmic overlay, right? Um, which brings us back into this life. If you watch the other video, I'll explain that. Because when you're in your passing, you do a life review, right? And it's when you're in that space of love that you're viewing it from. Now, because you're in source view, you're not in your human view. And so what you see there is going to be different than what you see it from here. And then in your knowing, you know you're going to return, right? For whatever reason that you have to either, um, you know, maybe work on, maybe change, maybe see it from a different perspective, or however else that you can better yourself or do it better, right? Because it's only evolution. You know, there's no punishments, there's no shaming, nothing, none of that from source. It's all us. We're only accountable to ourselves, right? And so as we're looking at our past lives from the perspective of source, right, which is love, we can see just by that is like, oh my God, we just know where we're coming from when we were in that space. It's just this realization that happens automatically, um, you know, once you've passed over. But anyway, I explained that in fully in a different video, which I'll attach to this video. So check that out. But in this life review, as I'm coming back, you know, into the human form and doing the meditation, the Native American was showing me, it was like the speeding up and the slowing down of the lives, in between lives, and then after, and then in between, and then after. And so it's showing me everything, how it all linked out, and why I am where I am and doing what I'm doing, right? Which is creating what I'm creating now in this life, right? And so to help people heal, transform, and move forward in their lives, so they're not stuck going back around the loop over and over again, you know, doing the same things maybe over and over again, or trying to see it from a different perspective or learn. Because when we come back into life, we forget again until it comes back up and it arises, right? So with that, like, you know, a lot of things happen in our lives and we don't know why it's happening, but because we forget of the past or why we come back to maybe transform it in a different way. But if we act from the same space that we act before, then we really don't do anything to change or transform that. So part of the life review is now in this present moment, what we're doing now, and staying present and acting from a place of higher consciousness as we're moving through life. So, you know, there's none of that residual from past that brings us back to want to recreate from a different perspective, right? And so when you're allowing that to happen, and I explained that again in the other video, so check that out, you know, we're allowed to move more forward through that in fluidity. So it we can kind of catch up to ourselves. Not that we're in the past, but I mean, we're always where we're supposed to be at the time. However, a lot of times we don't see from that perspective, and so we are coming back, to I don't know. Let's just say to get it right. We're coming back to get it. You know what I mean? Um, and so the karma. A lot of people think karma is based on, you're going to get what you put out. You're going to attract what you put out, but you're not here, and it's not punishment. That karma is that you're going to, reap what you sow, and that's fear based. That's not love based, right? So that's not karma. Karma is a repeatance of something from a different perspective of awareness that you're trying to overcome, achieve, or do better versus, doing again to have it done to you, you know. So there's a kind of a difference in that. But again, watch that video and I'll explain it a little bit more there. But it was just really interesting to see the life out of body life review that I did, with this and how that all evolved, because I just laugh at it. They chuckle with me all the time, and I laugh about it because I thought it was one thing, it was totally different. And so um, after we were going around and round and round and round, and it was like, because it was funny because I had like this uh, thought of these mountains, because I thought we were going on a mountain, ride on the horse up the mountain, and just having a great old time, and but he was literally just taking me around in circles. We were riding really fast, really slow, and I was watching the film go around of the pictures of my life in certain situations, which brought a lot of clarity to my life. And then I got to the point where it's like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And so like he kind of stopped the horse and I got off, but it was really funny that like I was like, okay, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. So it's a great reminder for me, what I'm working on here in this present moment in this lifetime, not just for myself, but to help others to bring this process through for them. So it can help them, change and transform their lives and see from a different perspective, that there's more that's going on, beyond this, uh, human self, this physical realm, and you can bust through that, um, and it's just the layerings of source, which brings kind of like, I like to look at it as, like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, or a bud bursting out of, you know a flower busting out of its bud, or like a plant, a seed, food, like a crop coming up out of the dirt into the light, and it's that's who we are. Like we're evolving, out of these different cocoons and things like that. And so that's the human self into the spiritual self. Like we're awakening, we're born into the human form or whatever form we're taking up, and then we are awakening into something else, which is beautiful, right? It's the rebirthing, right? So we go in through rebirth all the time, every second of the day, because every day we have our perspective changes depending on where we are. Like if we're in this higher rate of uh, awareness, then we're going to see from source. If we're in the lower realms having a bad day, we're going to see from that perspective. So there's all these different perspectives that we can see from, and that we're accepting or not accepting in our reality of what really is, right? Because if it's not love, it's not. And when we're seeing it from something that's not, it is what it is that we create it from, right? We put meaning on it. And the book talks about that. Whatever we think it is, we're putting meaning to it. And it may not even be that, right? And I've had experiences where, um, you know, um, I was just kind of dazing off, looking out into and pondering, something. And I happened to be looking towards this situation where these two people were talking. And I was just sitting here like this. And I thought they thought I was looking at them. And they were like, they gave me this look, or were like, what are you looking at? And when I realized that, I was like, I wasn't even, it had nothing to do with them. I was just pondering. So a lot of times we think something that's not even really going on. It was their perception that I was looking at them and whatever was going on between them. I was just pondering and just looking off into space, and so it really had nothing to do with them. But because what they're viewing of me they thought it was something totally different, so they put meaning to it. Anyway, but that's kind of what the scenario of that. But as soon as I was like, okay, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. I don't want to keep going around, because when I was going around really, really fast, and then really slow, and then really fast, and then really slow, it was almost kind of like I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like I didn't want him to keep speeding up and speeding up. I don't know. I just felt like I've had enough. I'm done. Let me off this horse. And so he let me down, and then he just kind of looked at me, and he just rode off, and that was that. And I came back into my body. So that was the nothing was said. There was no words, right? It was just a knowing and awareness. Because, like, again, like when we're in the body, there's words, there's thoughts, there's things like that. But when we're outside of the body, the human context, is telepathy. There's other ways of communication that we don't do here. Um, so there's no real talking, right? That's just the human form. And that's a whole other story, because, like, I remember when I was little, I had realized that we don't do telepathy here, but I'm going to share that in a different story. But yeah, my phone's dying. So I'm going to cut that short there. But anyway, yeah, I'll do a different video on the telepathy as a child, when I was trying to figure things out, and it was like I realized you couldn't do telepathy. Here, you had to actually speak. And so I'll share that story. But yeah, that was the out of body life review that I went through. And so again, working on the karmic overlay, doing life review now, there are steps you can take to do, and to do that without having to wait till you pass over and then come back and then try to do it from a place of not knowing again, right? Because when you come back, right, what are you going to be? You're not going to know. And because you're going to forget. So it's the steps that you can take now to transform it. So when you do pass over, you can take a look at it from a different perspective from there. And it's like, I don't want to say it's like passing a grade or anything like that, but you're able to pass through that window or that doorway, that path, and to move forward into another realm of higher consciousness. All right. Well, happy journeys. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or want to do a one-on-one session about getting on to the overlay, karmic overlay transformational progress, we can start working on that as a one-to-one coaching session, or just stay tuned, with the videos. And if you want to work on your own, in your own way, you can do that as well. If you need assistance, I'm here. And definitely, put some stuff in the comments. It was a funny story, experience for me anyway. I laugh at it every time I think about it. Because that's how, you kind of have to. You have to look at the human form and the concepts, and from a funny perspective. It's just because we don't understand. But yep, that's the Laura concept. I don't know. But anyway, but that does go back to a lot of lives that I've had with the Native Americans, but I'll share those too as well. But all right, well, happy journeys.